Alright, hello, this is a deck tech for Titania, Protector of Argoth, 1v1 commander deck. I pulled this deck from a recent 5-0 in the leagues, and I haven't changed a thing yet. I played it for about 30 games so far, and I think it's moderately well positioned, but mostly it's just a lot of fun. The goal of the deck is to ramp up to Titania, usually on turn 3 because there's just a ton of mana ramp. And hopefully you have a land in your graveyard at the time. If it's a fetch land, you get to ramp up another land and get a 5/3. If it's like a wasteland, you get to mess with your opponent's mana, and you also get a 5/3. So game plan A is to win by beating your opponent down with 5/3s. Zurin Orb and Sylvan Safekeeper also allow you to go all in if you need to. You can sometimes just sack all your lands and then just win right away on turn 4. If your opponent manages to stick around through all of that, you got some big mana spells down at the end. Ulamog is usually one of the best game enders in the format, and but any of these other cards are pretty good at doing the same job. The deck is really well positioned against pretty much all of the creature decks in the format. It has a better top end than most of these decks, and it just gets there faster. It's lightning fast, and the other creature decks have a lot of trouble dealing with it. I don't think it's very well positioned against most of the blue decks in the format. Fortunately, Baral and Jace have been showing up in smaller numbers lately, but Vial Smasher decks are currently dominating the format, and I think it's a pretty bad matchup. Being mono green, it's also pretty bad against combo decks, but there's not much you can do about that. You do have some game against the blue decks and the combo decks, but stalling for even a turn, if you get a slow start, it can be fatal sometimes. So, if you can get a fast start, maybe you can beat those decks. There's a few other ways you can beat them, but I think mostly they're fairly bad matchups. So it's a little better position than it was when Baral was running throughout the whole format, but I don't think it's going to be taking any 5-0s without a little bit of luck. It's a really fun deck though, and if the meta game is filled with creatures decks, it's one of the best creature decks in the format. As I said, I haven't changed a thing, and I'm not sure I will. The only possible additions that I can think of are Reclamation Sage and Worldbreaker. They stand out to me because they can be tutored for. Rec Sage can be gotten with Woodland Bellower, and Worldbreaker can be gotten with Fierce Empath or Eye of Ugin. And, so it's possible to search those up. The targets that you'd probably want to hit would be like Sylvan Library or Treachery. And sometimes waiting around for Ugin or Ulamog is just far too long. And those are some cheaper options that can be searched up. I still don't know if they're enough. They're enough to change those bad matchups. And I don't know what I'd cut. So I'm not going to worry about it for now. I've also run into Sword of Feast and Famine, but I've been able to get around that. Ulamog usually is fast enough to deal with that because it's usually on a fairly small creature, and I've been able to deal with it fairly easily. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this deck tip and consider picking up the deck and trying it out.